some point. I mean, we both could have shouted on that one. I tell you, you are everywhere. You are everywhere.
I will just go ahead and share it.
Yes.
I will share it right now. I have a cousin who lives in Illinois. I have many cousins in Illinois, but one of my cousins, several of my cousins have commented on my YouTube channel. And one of them particularly said, I wish I lived in Galveston County so I could vote for this man.
Wow.
She actually lives in Illinois,
Wow.
Northern Illinois.
Oh, that's powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful. Well, I'm hoping and believing that all of the citizens of Galveston County just heard what you said and could identify with your cousin in Illinois and will participate in the electoral process for November the 8th.
Could you do something for me, Reverend King? On the second phone, Shamika's phone, could you put it on mute? It's still going to be recording, but it's not going to hear. It's not going to give us feedback.
Okay, I don't see the mute button, but I turned the volume down.
Okay, that works. All right.
Reverend King, I did the same thing.
Okay.
Me
We're
and
good
you, we
then.
on the same accord.
Excited about Jacqueline's cousin and her comments concerning our conversation to the citizens and voters and residents in Galveston County. And I know your Electra James inspirational talk show is reaching listeners around, viewers around the world, certainly across the nation and throughout the state of Texas and in Galveston County. And I certainly appreciate you, Electra and Jacqueline, what you all are doing to help keep people informed. I firmly believe in order to elevate, you've got to educate. And that's what your program does. It educates the listener and the viewer so they have truth, they have knowledge, they have facts in order to make intelligent decisions. Thank you so much for what you do.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for taking out that time to always coming out on Mondays. And Jackie can tell you, just like myself, people really appreciate this. And guess what? When you got in that truck and you start doing them lives, people say, there you go, there you go. I said, yeah, he king around here.
It was amazing. I attended.
Uh-huh.
Yes, it was amazing. I attended my 40th class reunion planning meeting this past Saturday evening in Houston. I'm a graduate of the class of 1983 from James Madison High School, and so many of my mates. When I walked into the planning meeting, and so many of them approached me to say, "Hey, I've been watching you on Facebook. I've been watching." No clue. I had no idea that they were viewing and listening, and they were just so impressed and proud of what we're doing in Galveston County. So thank you again for what you're doing.
I'm going to interject again. If you remember from our very, very first broadcast that we did with you, I also graduated from James Madison High School in 1977. And I have been posting your videos or a link on our Madison Marlins website. So page. So
small
believe in my class. It's a great world.
I recall that, and I recall the conversation that we had that you a Madison Marlin graduate, and so we oftentimes would say we are Madison Marlins. Whoosh.
That's right.
Well, you know, I had mentioned earlier, Jackie, to Reverend King of what he represents, and I want to say this live on tonight. And then I know that he may not see himself like this, but when I look at Reverend King, I see Martin Luther King, I see Jesse Jackson, I see John Lewis, I see Malcolm X, I see these powerful men all in one, and Obama. You represent them because they had great fights, and you are carrying that fight within you. And I will shout that throughout the world, because when a person stands out, and that's that's not who you know what I'm saying? You're not those people in real time. But on the inside up in here, you represent them as a whole. It's like taking every part of when you're talking, when you're going to different places, when you're in that truck, when you're on any live, any of these talk shows, you talk with such strength. And the people are gravitating towards you because they can see Obama. They can see Malcolm X. They can see Mandela. They can see John Lewis. They can see Jesse Jackson. They can see Al Sharpton. You know why I know that they can see it? Because I see it. And other people, and I told you this just Saturday, God is still confirming things. When the other candidate that was there said what she said, and didn't even know I was on your campaign. And she said, right. I really was at the point, I didn't know which way to go. All of us in here. But you see that man right there? I said, yes. She said, yeah. We began to follow him and what he's doing. So that's confirmation to me from God that this man is powerful. You are a powerhouse. I pray you never forget that as you go along the way. Even after all of this is done, you are carrying so much on the inside of you, and it is coming out before the people. Never forget that. Wow. And my daughter told me, Reverend King cat laughing. You know, when somebody say you cat laughing, that means you got it going on when you cat laughing.
And you know, and I know that this is something that you're aware of too, Reverend King. Every word that you said has now gone out to the people. Mm-hmm. And if you think you're going to slack off, you ain't going to be able to do that, because we know what you can do. And the people know what you can do. Mm-hmm. So when you come and you say, hey, I'm just kind of tired, can I take a break? We'll say, how long? 5 minutes? Not enough? Because we know that you can and will do the things you have committed to do. I don't like the word promise. Electra knows I don't believe in that word.
No, she don't.
I believe that sometimes when you say you promise someone something, it's just a way to get them to do something you want them to do, but you have no intention of following through. But Reverend King, I feel like your words are a commitment, not a promise.
Yes. Absolutely.
I can stand behind that. So
absolutely. Yeah. And I believe what I'm sharing with you and your audience. I believe that we are compelled for such a time as this. And as I heard Electra articulate her thoughts concerning the character that she sees in me, of all these great dynamic champions for justice and champions for righteousness and champions for what's right in our society. I am the amalgamation of a collage of individuals. I grew up in such an era in the 60s where Jesse and Sharpton and Obama, they were at the forefront of a progressive movement, transform. Dr. Martin Abernathy, they were at the forefront of the transition for which we now enjoy the liberties that are being challenged, that are being viewed as a non-necessity in our society, that my era of the 60s, we must rise up. We must stand up on the behalf of our children who are coming behind. Children who will be lacking in their day. They fail to have the protections, the security that the laws of our nation once afforded us. And now is being gutted. The Voting Rights Act of 1964 and left it protections for which now we see county judges redoing gerrymandering, redistricting, and that it is cutting people out of having representation with taxation. And whenever you have taxation without representation, it's an abomination. And so it's wrong. And there are people who still have a system of value, a system of judgment, right and wrong, good and bad, up and down. And they know in their hearts what is happening is not right. I challenge every person that has that value system within them, that knows what's right and wrong, to stand up in this election season and cast your vote, and make sure you encourage people within your circle to go out and vote for what's right, and that will the democracy. Without democracy, what is America? Without democracy, what is America? What shall she become? The democracy that she has been able to cascade across the world as a necessity for humanity. Right. We trust and believe that those who were reared and raised, and those who came up in an era where those value systems were pertinent and promising, that helped us to make good decisions, helped us to stay on the straight and the narrow, in spite of all the negativity that oftentimes floats within our environment. We still had, for the most part, the good, much like the Quakers were during the century, or who helped those who were trying to become free from slavery. The Quakers stepped in, helped make abolitionists oftentimes turned around and helped make a difference in society. There's always a remnant that stands and says, we're going to stand for what's right. We're going to do the right thing. And so I encourage your audience who believe in what's right to know just that amalgamation reared of my Sunday school teacher, my kindergarten teacher, my 5th grade teacher, Miss O'Hara, Miss Strange, Miss Johnson, who placed in me those principles, along with mom and dad, aunts and uncles, who influenced my life, pastors and deacons who influenced my life. And so when you look at me, you're looking at more than just me. You're looking at tapestry of people's lives that have been woven into my life to make me what I am today. And so Martin Luther King, I cannot be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. I can never be well as long as you're sick. I can never be rich as long as you're poor. I can never be up as long as you're down, because our lives are interwoven and we're connected to the common thread of the human life existence. And so we must work together. We must pull together. That's why my mantra for my campaign is, we are better together. We're going to bridge the divide. The 3rd campaign for Galveston County Judge, we're going to bridge the divide. We're going to create a lasting difference, because that's what we do when we're connected. That's what we do when we become one with thought, one with heart, one with mind, and we can accomplish so much. That's how we overcame World War I. That's how we won World War II. That's how we won the Korean War. That's how we were able to make it through the Vietnam War. That's how we won the Desert Storm War. That's how we won the war with Iraq, because we came together. And the resiliency that exists within our humanity truly makes the difference for us to have victory. And that's what I want to have on November the 8th. I want to have victory with the William H. King III campaign for Galveston County Judge. So today, go to kingforcountyjudge.com. I need your help. We win together. I need your participation. Log in King for County Judge.com. Let me know that you're with my campaign, where you want to work on the campaign, making phone calls, knocking on doors, creating events, meet the kids, and raising money. We need your help in one or multiple of those capacities. We can win this. We're going to win this, but together we stand. We believe as a result of our unity.
Yes. And you know, Reverend King, I know on last night when we were talking, and the sound went out for whatever the reason, and I had said that because it's a question that people are asking is about non-voters. And so if you could share that with us on tonight about what are you guys doing about the non-voters, and another question outside of the non-voters, there's questions that people are asking, and then about the voting machines, because it's a different way of voting. And I believe that Jackie, she lives in Harris County, so she might have already experienced it. But I wanted for you to share that, because just like I didn't find out until Saturday, there are people that's going to be trying to figure it out. And I did talk to one of the viewers who watch you, and she said that it's going to be some kind of training or something on it. But she wanted to know if you would talk about it when we came on and had the conversation with the candidate.
Sure. Thank you so much, Electra. You asked some great questions, and I certainly appreciate you and Jacqueline's questions and that you all provide your listeners. Certainly are benefactors of your questions. One, I'll share with you, September the 17th, we will have a election, or should I say, a voting clinic, voters clinic at the Greater New Hope Missionary Baptist Church on September 17th. And on October the 8th, we have an election voters clinic. What is the purpose? I did it in the primary, an election clinic. We brought in the chief election judge for Galveston County, Miss Wendy, and she provided a clinic for all voters. We streamed live so that people could hear, share the information that was pertinent to our participating in the voting process. And so what Wendy's going to do, she's going to allow Maxine Jones, who's one of the election judges. I think she's been on your show before. And she's lead the clinic on the 17th of September. And we're also going to show the video of how voters can walk through, view the process of how they walk through the voting and casting of the ballot. This year, as a result of nationally, this year they're moving from the digital ballots that we've been accustomed to these last several years to a paper ballot. The rhetoric was there was fraudulent ballots being cast, and so they wanted something that's more tangible than having a digital election where you just go into the poll, put your number in, and then you digitally identify who you're casting your ballots for, and it keeps a digital record. But now they wanted something that was, so they're going to go to a paper ballot. So they're going to a voting machine that you can place a ballot into, much like going to a vending machine with $1 trying to purchase a soda. So you put the dollar bill into the slot, it receives the dollar bill, and then it gives you credit or display on it, and then you can purchase your soda. So this particular ballot, you'll be able to slide it into the voting machine without any, or they will accept the paper ballot. You'll cast your ballot, and then it will release the paper. You can't pull it. You'll cause the ink to spread, and then you'll lose that particular ballot. And so it's important to dispense it, allow it to receive it, it feeds into it, and allow it also to dispense it, to send it back out again. And then at that time, the paper ballot, after your ballot is cast, and you place the paper ballot in a receptacle that's locked, and you place it in the slot, slide it down, and once that ballot is lowered or falls into the box, then your ballot is cast. Do not walk away from that voting location until you visually see your ballot fall into the receptacle. At that particular time, then you can exit the facility after you get your sticker saying, "I voted." And so that is as far as undervotes. In Galveston County, we had 70,000 undervotes in the last midterm election. 70,000 is a large voters. That means you had thousands of people who chose not to engage in the electoral process for whatever reason, whatever their reasoning was. Here's the challenge. Because voting is such a part of our democracy, whereby we make decisions for the entire county, state, nation from our voting process. If there was another way that we could make decisions outside of voting, then that probably would be done. But as a result, we make these decisions from the voting process. We determine who's going to be president of the United States. The most powerful person in the world is the president of the United States. We determine who's the senator from the state. We determine who's going to be the congressional leaders from the state. We determine who's going to be the governor from a state, who's going to be the lieutenant governor, who's going to be the state senators, who's going to be the state representative. We determine who's going to be the school board trustees, who's going to be the mayors. We determine who's going to be the councilors. All that's done from voting. And local voting has more impact, influence on your day-to-day existence than the national elections does. So voting is such an enormous amount of responsibility, enormous amount of a place of challenge and change takes place right in the voting process. So it's not something you can afford to miss. It's like if you don't pay your taxes, you can't afford it. After a period of time, they'll take your land from you.
Yes.
Right. If you don't get your car registration, it's a matter of time. Some police officer is going to pull you over. Right? And so
right.
Voting is so powerful and so important because we determine so much from voting. So it's not something you can say, well, I'm upset with the governor. I'm upset with the president. Well, I'm upset with the mayor. Well, if you are upset, that's more so reason for you to vote to determine who should be in that position that thinks like you do, that behaves in the manner that you behave, so they can represent your value system. And so that's how important voting is. Say to those individuals, let's rise above that. Let's overcome that and see the true meaning of it, right? So if you know that you are diabetic and you know you have to take your medication, if you don't do it, your sugar levels are too high. And as a result, you can possibly go into diabetic coma. You can possibly become gravely ill.
Yes.
And so it's important to take your medication, blood sugar, because it keeps the same thing. It keeps our nation in good health as everybody is participating in the electoral process for which decisions are made for the furtherance or for the betterance of our society. And so I encourage your vote and understand what they're participating in. Can you imagine going without water? Can you imagine not voting to make sure we have a proper water system? And then as a result, not having water, we would be doing all kinds of digging in our area, trying to find some water stream. So it's important to know we must, as men and women, young people, if you're 17 years of age and 10 months, you can participate in the voting process. So it's not waiting until you get 18, just 17 years and 10 months, and you can be a part of the registering for vote and voting in the election. And so I encourage you to participate in the voting process because it determines local elections, determines your taxes, determines when your school starts, when your school opens, when your school closes, determines what curriculum is. It determines so much of your day-to-day function, speed zone size. It determines so much what businesses will be allowed to structure itself in your vicinity. And so it determines so much about your day-to-day living that you must engage in process of casting your ballot. So what we're doing, we're making phone calls. What we're doing, we're sending text messages. What are we doing? We're sending emails. What are we doing? We're sending paper push cards with our information on it. We're making them aware of the criticalness of our election. Just within our national issues, we know we're dealing with Roe versus Wade. We know we're dealing with gun laws. We know we're dealing with issues in the state of Texas concerning voting restrictions and the things that have been done in the last year to make voting more difficult in the state of Texas. So because of how young you can be to purchase an assault weapon. There's so many issues on our national and state level, even within our county, whether or not it's right to use your taxpayers' dollars at the border, whether or not it's right to be able to send people to the border to patrol the border when we have crime issues right here in Galveston County. Is it right to use taxpayers' dollars for those? Is it right not to use the federal money for COVID-related issues concerning incentives to get the vaccination, concerning incentives to be tested, to make sure we stay safe as a society? It's important to know that your voting is a voice that determines yes, keep on doing it or stop doing it, or is enough enough that you're going to say, I vote that we stop the nonsense and put someone in office that will be transparent in his leadership, that will work on voting, work on economic development, sustainability, that will work on flood mitigation, resiliency, that will work on accountability and translated issues into a society that will help them to move further with their children, move further with their schools, move further with their communities, to deal with the crime issues, just to be transparent so that everyone can see we're moving and working in the right direction. And so I encourage you to know that William H. King III, you're not going to have somebody trying to do a national agenda on a county level. I will not go to the border with dump funds from the county to use for the state border. We are 1,192 miles from the border. It is ludicrous to think that you can control the border from Galveston County. That is the federal responsibility. And so then you collaborate with your senators, you collaborate with your governor as to what can be done in that regards, and what you can use your influence to get the troops or to get the resources to stop those who are coming over. But you don't create dishonesty. You keep veracity. You be sincere, be truthful. If you're going to make a document that's going to determine whether or not you use monies in a particular area or not, do not be dishonest with that. If you say something about health-related issues, make sure your health director can collaborate your statement, your document that gives you that particular authority, because you are the only person in Galveston County that has authority that can declare an emergency. So they don't corroborate your story. That means you've been dishonest. That means you lack veracity. That means you're not being truthful. That means you're working for the party and not the people. And that's not the county judge we need in Galveston County. Enough is enough. It's time for a change. People are tired of the nonsense. They want to get back to business of servicing people. County judge responsibility is the budget. We are sitting over $150 million resource surplus. Why? Because they claim that they're lowering taxes, but the reality is the appraisal district is raising the value of the homes.
Yes.
They lower the tax by a small percentage. And when you look at the enormous value that they've been placed on the home, it absorbs whatever cut was paid in the taxes. As a result, the county develops over a period of 12, 14 years, $150 million. That means you know in your heart, you cannot sincerely say, I've lowered your taxes when you built a nest egg of $150 million. That's wrong. I'm awake, I'm asleep, I'm not sleeping, and I'm not going to be bamboozled by the falsity of your conversation. I believe it's right to stand up and let people know where they are. Provide the services. Make sure the citizens of Galveston Island, who are senior citizens who need this, make sure they have a facility. Don't sit by idly with $150 million of resources and say to them, we can't get a facility for you to have your senior citizen social needs being addressed. You worked for the better part of your life. You worked 35, 40, 50 years. Now you're a senior citizen, but you don't want to fade away into the dark of the sunset. You want to stay engaged with other senior citizens. You want to participate in other social groups. You want to keep yourself active and moving in your thought and your physical. Don't neglect the citizens of Galveston Island not to have a place where they can enjoy senior citizens activities. All I'm simply saying is that we're sick and tired of being sick and tired. It's time to do the right thing. It's time to do the right thing and vote for King.
Yes.
I want to be the fly in the ointment right now.
Good.
Reverend King, what are you going to do for Galveston County if you don't get elected? I want to hear how committed you are to Galveston County. What are you going to do if you don't get elected? Are you going to fade into the sunset with those senior citizens, or are you going to continue to work hard for us?
I will probably be as consistent as a sunrise.
I don't want to hear.
I don't think that I will not be elected.
I don't think so either, but I
will be elected. I will not. I will be like a sunset. You can a sunrise. You can always depend on the sunrise.
Always.
Yes.
Always. I have been here for 30 years, Jacqueline. 30 years I've been here in Galveston County working and laboring. And my level of work and service has not declined, but inclined.
Yes.
It's not recessed, but progress. And so I will continue along that path. I'm only 57 years of age. I'm very young. And so I still have a lot of years left in me. And so you're not going to be able to get rid of me. And I will continue to work on behalf of the citizens of Galveston County, and whatever way I can advocate, whatever I can help to resolve issues. I am a problem solver, and I will work wherever I can with others to collaborate to bring resolution rather than confrontation.
Yes.
Now, I want to clarify. I have every intention in my heart that you are going to be the next Galveston County judge. But
yes,
I always try to look at both sides of a coin, and I want to feel like I can rest assured that my faith in you is not misplaced.
Absolutely.
And even I don't even live in Galveston County, but I feel like it's important for me to look at you and know that you are not going to abandon us no matter what, no matter how tough it gets. You are not going to abandon the people of Galveston County.
I will not go off the sunset. I will continue to stand for right and for what's correct. And I will still continue to stand for the humanity, for the individual who may not have a voice. I mean, this voice can be echoed. I will always stand for the betterment of people. People are my passion, and then what I do sincerely from my heart. I love what I do. It's part of who I am, and I don't plan on not existing. So there's no way that cannot exist within me.
And I know for viewers who are seeing for the first time, if you want to go back and look at our Miss Electric James Inspirational Talks previous broadcasts with Reverend King, you can discover all of the community activities that he has been involved in all of these years, no matter where he was politically. He has been a supporter of the high schools, the community colleges, the supporter of education, supporting
COVID,
supporting families here in Galveston County. So I believe in you. I just want you to know, I believe in you. I'm spreading the word. I believe in William King III for county judge of Galveston County, because I know that no matter what happens, you will not, as you said, you are not going to disappear. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely not. Like a sunrise. I'll always
shine. What I like about you, Reverend King, running for this position is I know that your whole heart is in it. And it's something that my late husband told me, if you don't plan on winning, don't get in.
That's right. I'm in it to win it.
He said you got to be in it to win it, because you go in defeated. That's pretty whatever your expectations are, that's what you pretty much gonna get. If you tell yourself every day, why am I always broke? Because you keep telling everybody you broke. You keep telling yourself that.
You have what you say.
You have what you say. You are what you eat. But we got about 5 minutes left, and it's been a really good conversation. See, God meant for us to come back on tonight.
Just flew by on it.
Yeah.
Just flew by on it.
But I want you to, whatever you say, close. I know in closing out tonight, donations. And Jackie can agree, attest to this too, that we've been concerned about. Are we allowing you enough time to talk about your donating? Because that's something that you feel like you need to get out there about the donating.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Lecter James. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. You all have so beautiful, kind, and compassionate words of encouragement. And I feel like I'm on steroids right now.
They true.
Now, I'm certainly grateful. It is very important to understand the financing of a campaign is nothing to be taken lightly. That you can truly get out and knock on doors, you can truly travel and talk to people, but financing a campaign helps a candidate to perpetuate the progress of a campaign to victory by way of the printing by way of the processing, by way of purchasing the necessary airtime, purchasing, texting, emailing, being able to create videos and then be able to place them on the internet. Is so important to understand the enormity of cost that exists within a campaign. And so it costs just to file to run for Galveston County Judge $1,500. That's filing alone. And then once you file, then you have to start the process of creating a campaign team. I'm grateful that the people who have circled me and surrounded me and engaged me are not looking for money, because I don't have it, but they are looking for victory. They believe in what I stand for. They believe in what I'm working hard for. They believe that I can bring change to the capacity of the office of the Galveston County Judge. And so they are donating their time, they're donating their talents, and they're donating their treasure because they believe. I wonder, do you believe? Do you believe we can make a change? Do you believe it's time for a change? Do you believe we can turn this ship around and we can move for the betterment of the humanity of Galveston County? We can make a lasting difference because we are better together. And so it takes resources to host a meet and greet. You have to bring in a caterer. You have to bring in other banners. You have to purchase signs, yard signs. You have to purchase street signs, 4x4s, 4x6s, 4x8s. You have to purchase posts that you nail into the ground in order to hold the sign. All of those have thousands and thousands of dollars of cost. Just today, I was trying to raise $10,000 today, $10,000. And so with an election season, you have from the governor's office to state senators, to congressional representatives. And so everybody's trying to get money for that campaign. And so when everybody's fishing in the pond, you kind of thin out the fish, right? And so it's a challenge trying to raise money, but I believe, and so many people believe. And so we've been able to manage thus far. We have signs out. We have calls came in this evening from Friendswood, from League City, for more yard signs. There are people who are catching the wave and hearing the message and listening to the Electra James inspirational talk show. And as a result of getting the information, they want to say, yeah, I believe in that young man. I'm going to support that young man. And I want yard signs. And so it's just, I need people that believe that listen, if you got to choose between my campaign and buying some beans and rice, or rice and beans, then you buy the beans and rice. God is going to provide some way, somehow. But if you have the resources that remain after you've purchased your things you need to purchase, pay for the things you need to pay for, and you can help me with 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, 500, 1,000. If you have the ability to help me, go to kingforcountyjudge.com, kingforcountyjudge.com. Scroll down to my Act Blue account, and make a meaningful contribution to our campaign from you. We certainly could use it as we go into the last 9 weeks of this campaign. Can you believe it? We're 9 weeks from victory. And just your donation can help us to purchase a few more text messages, to reach a few more voters, and say, please cast your ballot for economic development, sustainability, flood mitigation, resiliency, accountability and leadership, for our young people, for our senior citizens, for the services and programs of Galveston County. I will be a county judge. You can appreciate a county judge that will respect you and they'll honor you, that will never, ever be condescending toward you, but will always work for the betterment of humanity. I'm going to work with our young people to have a place where they can work, play, and stay in Galveston County. We're going to create jobs and businesses. We're going to promote businesses. I'm going to be business-friendly county judge, attracting businesses to Galveston County. It creates ad valorem taxes for your municipalities. It creates sales taxes for your cities and your county. It creates jobs. And so we're going to have high-paying jobs. We're going to have long-term jobs so that people can enjoy the environment of. I can see a better day. I can see a brighter day. I know better days are coming, and that's why we are better together. We're going to restore democracy in Galveston County. We're going to create a lasting difference because we are a team and we are better together. So I do need your help. Thank you for giving me this moment, Miss Electra James, for appealing to your audience. If they can, I certainly would appreciate them to make a meaningful contribution today, tomorrow, certainly in these last couple of weeks, so that we can purchase the things. Listen, if the money comes in the last week or two, or maybe the last 3 weeks of the election, it's difficult to get those funds and then order the things you've been waiting to order, and then let it be processed, made, and then shipped to us. By that time, it's election day. And all we can do then is pay debts off in things that we have purchased on debt or on credit. All that time we can do is pay debts off. But if we have the resources in the next 3 weeks, if you dedicate and determine yourself to donate to our campaign, you will help us to cross the finish line strong, mighty, and victoriously. Because you have invested to a great campaign and a winning team. So thank you so much. Do the right thing. Vote for King. Make a meaningful contribution to our campaign today. King for countyjudge.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, tonight we had a wonderful conversation. I'm glad we were able to do this. And I almost drove Jackie crazy last night. But
got it worked out.
It
all right.
Worked out, and we're continuing to grow. So.
Yes, thank you. Good job.
Okay, so to let the viewers know, it won't be a conversation with the candidate on next Monday because it's a holiday, but we will come back that following Monday. So that gives you a breather. But we're gonna keep talking about this money, right, Jackie?
We're gonna keep working though. We're gonna keep working.
That's right. That's right.
We're joining us for Red, White, and Bayou this weekend. We're going to be doing a homegoing service, Miss Geraldine Sam this weekend, and for Miss Marie. Jackie Simeon this weekend, and so there's a lot going on this weekend. But we're going to be campaigning all the way through. We're in the full swing of our campaign right now, and we're going to every city. We're still putting out campaign signs that are being requested. Ordered additional campaign signs. We're just going to believe that the money is going to come in between now and the order is ready.
All right then. All right.
Have some faith. Have some faith.
That'll make you go get some good sleep. Okay. Well, good night, everybody. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Good night. Great.
Good night.
Great. Outstanding. Good job.